for me, just because we know the history that between these two ball clubs, and the guys in the studio hit on it, as well as both teams are playing right now. I think this is a great time for the Houston Astros to come in here and hopefully play well, because this is a huge series, not only for the Houston Astros themselves, but I think for the season.
And as you've looked at the dominance for the Rangers against the Astros in recent years, you can see they're 14-2 since August 3rd of 2015, averaging 6 runs a game, while the Astros are averaging 3.56. The numbers are really skewed heavily in favor of the Rangers.
Yeah, and it begs a couple questions for me. Are the Houston Astros really that bad against the Texas Rangers? And how long can the Texas Rangers continue these numbers of putting them up against the Houston Astros? This is a hostile arena for the Houston Astros to come in. They need to change the momentum in this series. I'm not sure how that gets done. I think it might have to be done with the pitchers being aggressive to some of these hitters that have had big numbers against the Houston Astros. Get them uncomfortable. For me, they just need to find a way, knock them off the plate, get a little aggressive, but they need to make this their Minute Maid Park North, so to speak, and take back control of this rivalry.
As a player, you're in that clubhouse. How important is it psychologically for the Astros to beat the Texas Rangers?
Well, first of all, coming into the series, you know exactly how well you've done here. You know you've gotten beat around a little bit. You know it's a rivalry. You know it's in the same state. You know everybody's talking about it in the media. So you have to change that somehow. It's just up to those guys in that clubhouse. I was in there. It was a little bit solemn. I think these guys are thinking about it, and they know they have a real opportunity, as well as they're playing right now, to change that tide a little bit.
And that's the whole thing. They are playing well right now, guys.
On Root Sports, Astros getting ready for game 1 of this 4-game set against the Texas Rangers, and they've been playing some pretty good baseball heading into Arlington. We look back since May 24th. This team is 11-2 and feeling pretty good about the way they've been playing all around. Some complete games, but we start with the top 3 of this order and how they've done. It'll tell you a lot about why this team has been doing so well. How about George Springer in those 13 games? 390. The guy's been getting on base. He's been in that leadoff spot, of course, but the OPS over 1100. Got his first career walk-off home run in that span. He's doing really well at the top of the order. And Altuve behind him now. Jose Altuve getting 340, an 11-game hit streak in the midst of all this. Couple multi-hit games in there. Continue to wreak havoc on the base paths as well. And then there's Carlos Correa in the 3-hole. How about him hitting 314? He had some walk-off hits in there, couple of them, and a big pinch hit homer in that span. 386 OBP and the 529 slugging for him. So these top 3 playing really well right now, and they're going to need these 3 to play well against the Texas Rangers, which is something they haven't been able to do when you look at the numbers back since August 3rd. At this graphic right here, Correa hitting 234 against Texas since that date. Altuve, how about 215 for him? Springer 208. Nobody with an on-base percentage even close to 300 there. And that's where it starts, guys. I'll go up to you in the booth. The first 3 guys is where this team feeds off of it. It's what they need to get things going.
Very important part of what the Astros are doing, as you have indicated, those top 3 guys in the lineup, and they would love to step it up based on those numbers they have had recently against the Texas Rangers. And the Astros have been outscored by a pretty wide margin by Texas in the season series. They've only managed 14 runs in the 6 games, so they would love to reverse that in this hitter's ballpark tonight, and it's a warm one. We'll check the Astros starting lineup. It's brought to you by Southwest Airlines. It is George Springer in right field. Jose Altuve at second base. Carlos Correa, the shortstop. Colby Rasmus in left field. The DH is Evan Gattis with Luis Valbuena at third. Carlos Gomez in center. Marwin Gonzalez at first base. Jason Castro, the catcher. Mike Fiers will be the pitcher. And it's Colby Lewis with a 10-1 career record against Houston at 2.39 ERA. Getting a first pitch swing and foul ball from George Springer. Springer is 7th in hits in the American League and also 7th in total bases. 288, 13 homers, 36 runs batted in for George. It's 86 degrees at game time. Springer fouls it, and Blummer, we expect to see a high dosage of sliders from Colby Lewis tonight.
Yeah, Colby Lewis is not a guy that's going to come after you and attack with the fastball on a regular basis, because he averages around 87 miles an hour on that fastball. And we also heard that he does throw a BP fastball, which means he takes about 3 to 5 miles an hour off it. But we've also heard that 40% of the time he will throw that slider. So there will be plenty of off-speed pitches from Colby Lewis.
Out in center field, it's Ian Desmond running it down. Out number 1.
There's a good look at the rest of the numbers. That's at 87.1 fastball velocity, second lowest in MLB. But it's pretty impressive the way he's able to move that fastball around the zone and create that 190 average against that fastball at 87 miles an hour. Now, in recent days, the Astros were able to face and beat Jared Weaver, who was far less in velocity, but they didn't pound on him, but they did beat him.
They would take any kind of a win tonight. There's ball 1 to Jose Altuve. He's put together an 11-game hitting streak, a .330 hitter with 9 homers, 31 runs batted in. He lines one to left field. He stayed with that breaking pitch. Takes the big turn, and he will screech to a halt and get back to first base, as it's played well in left field by Ryan Rua. 12-game hitting streak for Altuve.
It's one of those sliders from Colby Lewis. We'll take a look at our strike zone, brought to you by MD Anderson. Good job getting out and around that slider for that knock. You can see put on the brakes and the skates.
That's his second 12-game hitting streak of the season. That's hit number 1 for the Astros. Carlos Correa hopes to follow it up with one of his own. He's on an 8-game hitting streak right now, hitting .433 over that stretch. And it's high for ball 1. 267 for Correa, 8 homers, 32 runs batted in. We just saw that high fastball just a little bit over the top of the strike zone to a .391 hitter this month. That's what Colby Lewis is excellent at doing. Just tap dance around the fringes and try to get those hitters to chase the fastball, because he really doesn't want to catch a lot of the plate with it, as you have already told us, Jeff.
Yeah, that actually looked like two pretty good pitches here to start off against Carlos Correa. If he's not getting those edges, it's going to be a rough night having to pitch into the zone against the Houston Astros, and hopefully the Astros can barrel up some of those good strikes to hit.
Correa looks at it, and it's 2-1. Lewis off to that 5-0 start that we saw, a 3.09 ERA in 11 starts, has been outstanding. He has not lost to the Astros since June of 2010. 9 straight wins against Houston. He gets a swing and goes to a 2-2 count. And he's had company. This entire rotation has fallen into line for Jeff Bannister. At home, a 2-0 record since 15 against Houston, a 6.05 ERA. So he's had some luck going his way, too. Altuve goes. Here's the throw on a hop, and he is safe with a stolen base. He got out of the chute very well and went on to steal his 17th of the year.
There's a good look at the jump from Jose Altuve. It's a great jump. It was interesting. I was watching him running. He did peek in just to see, because that is kind of an action count for the hitter, to see if Correa took a pass at that ball. That's veteran. It's a veteran move looking in.
Correa taps it foul. Altuve aggressive. Now has 17 steals in 18 tries. He continues to lead the American League, and he's worked his way into scoring position for Correa. With runners in scoring position, the Astros with a 247 average now. They've come a long way, though. They're 21st in the majors, but that is actually quite an improvement in that batting average in those situations.
Yeah, they would like to erase that month of April. Not that there'd be much to erase.
That's a strikeout, and it's out number 2. Colby Rasmus will follow.
It's just a well-located fastball down and away corner. Here it is on Supermo, brought to you by Mattress Firm. And when a guy is painting a down and away quarter at 87 miles an hour, you really have to make a concerted effort to let that ball travel. It's hard. So used to timing up 92 to 95 miles an hour in this league. You see 87, it seems like it's never going to get there.
Colby Rasmus at 224 has 8 homers. The shift is on as usual for Colby, and that puts Jurickson Profar in right field, as you see. Strike 1 for Lewis. Lewis beat Cleveland last time out. He's working on an extra day's rest. That was Tuesday. He worked 6 innings of 2-hit shutout ball. Rasmus has excelled in these situations. 10 for 20 with 2 outs and men in scoring position. 1-1.
Well, you can see Colby too. He doesn't have the fastball to get into the kitchen of a left-handed hitter, so he's using that slider to try and tie up Colby, not let him get extended.
Lewis, 36 years old, drafted by Texas, 99. Flared out to shallow left field, but it doesn't get there. It gets to Beltre for out number 3. No runs, a hit, and a man stranded. No score. They had a steal, but they stranded him. Now the Rangers come up. Dallas Keuchel fans walking into Globe Life Park. Here's their starting lineup. Jurickson Profar is the second baseman leading it off, followed by center fielder Ian Desmond with Nomar Mazara in right field. Adrian Beltre is the third baseman and cleanup man. Rougned Odor bats fifth and does the DHing with Prince Fielder at first base, Ryan Rua in left field, Elvis Andrus the shortstop, Bobby Wilson the catcher.
Mike Fiers, four-year Houston Astros, gets the start here in the first game of this four-game set in Arlington. You see the numbers on the season. Fiers pitched well in Minute Maid against Texas. He did take the loss, but he went 7 strong, only gave up 2 earned runs. Keep in mind his only appearance here in Arlington was at a relief appearance, and it was his first appearance as an Astro, and he got roughed up in 5 innings, giving up 6 earned runs here at Globe Life.
Profar looks at ball 1 upstairs. He's on a 9-game hitting streak. 390, 2 homers, 3 runs batted in with multiple hits in 5 games in a row for Profar. That's a fair ball up the right field line and down into the corner, and he might get 3 bases on this. He will be held at second. Now he's going to go on to third. Here's the relay from Correa, and he is safe. He was being told to stop at second base, but he kept on churning and wound up with his second triple of the year.
If you've been watching this series closely here in recent past, you're not really shocked by how this one gets off to a start with Jurickson Profar with a leadoff triple.
Spicco and the third base coach talking with him.
Just a high heater, turned on, snuck it down that line. I think George did a pretty good job letting this ball come out of the corner. It comes to him. It's just he overthrows the first relay. That's what allows Profar to get into third base where they almost got him.
Infield stays back. Ian Desmond looks at ball 1.
You'd like to see this ball get to Altuve, the first cutoff, because if he has that ball a little bit sooner, he gets rid of that baseball, and the ball will beat the runner most oftentimes.
Fiers misses down and in, and it's 2 balls, no strikes to Desmond, a .305 hitter with 7 homers, 34 runs batted in. Desmond went 7 for 14 in the 3-game series sweep over Seattle. In his last 13 games, he's been a .407 hitter. He's taken over as the center fielder. Bounces that one wide of third. Earlier this year, as you'll recall, Delino DeShields was the everyday guy in center field, but he was sent down to AAA, and Desmond made the move from left field to center.
Weren't there questions early on what to do with Ian Desmond when he signed here? And then they said, we'll try him in left field. Now he's playing center field.
That's worked out pretty well.
Yeah, pretty impressive that they took a chance on it, but also pretty impressive that Ian Desmond has the athleticism to go out there and do it.
Yes, it is. Brett Bannister getting a solid effort every night in center from Desmond. And he's played well defensively. He swings at that one. It's 2-2, and the Astros play him to hit to right center. That's quite often where he has been getting his hits this season. Desmond, a longtime shortstop, drove in 62 for Washington last year. That's poked, and Marwin Gonzalez takes a look home, and now nobody covers first, so it's 1-0 Texas on a ground ball between first and second, and Fiers did not go to cover. He might have been anticipating a throw to the plate, but nonetheless, Profar scores easily on the grounder.
Early on in the ball game, you want to make sure you get the outs that are given to you, even if the run's going to score. But in this situation, you get a good look at it. Fiers chose to get out of the way of the throw because he assumed that Marwin was going to go home with this. But fundamentally, you have to continue on to first base and cover in case the play is not at home. You make sure you get the out at first.
1-0 Rangers. That's an infield hit and an RBI for Desmond, his 35th. Nomar Mazara, the batter. Curve in the dirt. Ball 1. Mazara's on a 4-game hitting streak.
This would be a great look at it. This is our vantage point. You see the ball go to the right side, and the shift on. Marwin way over off the bag, gets to it relatively easily, had intentions of going home. But once he couldn't get the ball out of his glove, there was no other option because Fiers was not covering first.
Mazzara has been quite a surprise and one of the top young players. He is, many feel, the leader in the clubhouse, so to speak, with about 4 months to go for the American League Rookie of the Year award, with what he's done so far, which has been eye-opening, and he's just 21 years old. The pitch is up, and it's 2 balls and no strikes to Nomar Mazzara from the Dominican Republic. Mazzara was at AA Frisco and AAA Round Rock last year. Solid numbers in his rookie season and batting third. In for a strike, that makes it 2-1. Fiers' career against the Rangers, he's 0-1 with an ERA of 6 in 2 games, 1 as a starter. As Jeff mentioned, he lost that 2-1 game in Houston May 21st. The Astros have 3 2-1 losses at the hands of the Rangers this year. Grounded, and that will sneak on through into right field. Desmond going first to third on a single by Mazzara. Three straight hits to open the game for the Rangers.
This is the beautiful part about being a left-handed hitter with the runner being held on at first base. You don't have to crush it. You just got to kind of redirect it into that 4.5 hole, because with the first baseman holding on the base runner, creates a little more space over there.
Adrian Beltre has hit .393 with runners in scoring position this season. There's strike 1 to him. .274 overall for Beltre, 10 homers, 40 runs batted in, and he's hit well against the Astros again this year. He's a .306 lifetime hitter against Houston with 20 home runs. In the dirt, 1-1. Rangers have the best winning percentage in the American League, .607. They've built a 3-game lead over Seattle by sweeping the Mariners. They're 7 games ahead of the Astros. The Astros have worked their way up to third place at 28-30.
Something else that makes this series that much more important. They have some time to make up ground if they can scratch out some games here.
1-2. Well, we hope our compatriot Alan Ashby recovers well. He's lost his voice and is getting some treatment, and will rejoin the club for the Tampa Bay series. Kevin Aschenfelder will be your partner for the next 3 nights up here in the booth.
Yeah, I hope Ash gets well. Can't be fun dealing with that.
No. Beltre's down on strikes for out number 1.
That's a good sign right there from Mike Fiers, getting the strikeout of Beltre. The numbers against the Astros were large, but with that strikeout, you have 1 out in the inning, and now you have a chance to get a double play ball to get yourself out of this mess.
Rougned Odor DHing tonight. Served his 7-game suspension. Came back, got quite an ovation from the Texas crowd. .268, 7 homers, 25 runs batted in.
One of the few places you can create violence and get cheered for.
Odor's hit .294 against the Astros this season with a homer, 4 runs batted in. They play him to pull. There's ball 1. Prince fielder on deck. First inning runs. 31-5. Since August 3rd, 2015, the Rangers have indeed built those early leads.
That's in 16 games. So if the Astros were able to get out of here with 1 run, that would be a small victory.
Really would be. In for a strike, 1-1. Rangers hit a lot better at home, and of course this is one of the top hitting ballparks in the major leagues. Probably not as good a hitter's park so far from what we're hearing this year as it has been most of the time in the past, but nonetheless they really do some damage in this park.
It's a good place to hit.
Ball carries exceptionally well here. There does not seem to be much of a breeze tonight,
which is odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, you and I have been here often enough to understand that the wind can blow here quite a bit.
It can. And the pitchers will tell you quickly it's always blowing out to right field, right?
That is the truth. Yep. Yeah, this place, that right center field gap. You get a look at the flags blowing straight down. The right center field gap is where you want to aim if you're a hitter.
Yes.
It always seems to travel really well, and that bullpen kind of pushes back into the field, making it a little bit shorter depth.
Fouled, and it's 1-2. You've read these articles about the ball carrying, and of course a lot of scientific studies have been done on everything in baseball, but the temperature of the ball game has a lot to do with how the ball carries.
I would agree with that. I've heard a lot of different theories over the years. Some good ones that have to do with how quickly a new stadium's concrete dries out. that was the one that got me.
That's beautiful. Foul ball back, keeps the count at 1-2. That's a reach, isn't it?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. Yeah, that might be a little further than we need to dig into the science of things.
Well, the Rangers are 21-9 at home, and they have won 9 consecutive home series. They've won 10 straight games from the Astros in this ballpark. This one gets by, and the run will score. Or was he hit by the pitch? Let's see.
I don't know. That'd be a good argument right now, because that would keep the run from scoring.
Apparently not. It's a wild pitch, and the run scores to make it 2-0.
That's something you don't see very often, is a ball get past the catcher, not only to the backstop, that one launched itself into the stands over the net behind home plate. Over the top breaking ball, just yanked down and in. But it cleared the screen behind home plate.
Yeah, came up off the arm of Castro and just took off from there. Oh, 2-0 on the wild pitch, the 5th of the year for Fiers. Mazzara into scoring position with a 2-2 count now on Odor, and Fielder on deck.
Takes away the double play also.
Rangers have won 5 consecutive series, and 12 of their last 15 games. Tough team to beat right now. Fouled, and it stays at 2-2. Let's see if we can pick up what happened on that wild pitch.
It's a good look at the rotation over the top. Looked like it got past the glove and maybe off the shin guard.
That's the way it looked. Maybe off the right knee of the shin guard. Yeah. And it just took off after that. It's Cole Hamels and Dallas Keuchel tomorrow night at 7:05. Yu Darvish and Doug Fister Wednesday night at 7:05. Thursday day baseball at 1:05. Martin Perez and Colin McHugh. Castro and Fiers talk it over. These two teams have played 6 games so far. All 6 going to Texas, 3 in Houston and 3 here. after this 4-game series. They won't meet again until August 5th in Houston. Rolled out to Altuve. Here's Marwin hustling to get back to first base, and he did not put his foot on the base. Safe at first. So everything spiraling against the Astros here as Mazzara takes third. Odor reaches first.
Brownie, some unacceptable mistakes. I'm hoping the replay shows that Marwin actually has a foot on this. A.J. Hinch is coming out as we look at the replay right here. And that's a good call.
Altuve is charged with an error.
Pretty good no-look catch by Marwin, but at the same time, you'd like to have that foot on the base.
Yeah, he broke for the ball initially, and then he was scrambling to get back to first base.
But these are situations where the shift is on. You see where they're playing. Marwin deep. First reaction is to go after the ball. But as a first baseman, as a third baseman, as a shortstop, with these shift situations, you have to be aware of the player next to you and where he is standing and understand his range if he can get to that ball. Because as a first baseman, your initial priority is to cover first base on a ground ball. If you know for a fact that you're going to be unable to get to that ball because there's a second baseman able to get it, you've got to get back to that bag as soon as possible.
After the manager challenge, the call stands. Now A.J. Hinch is going to go out and talk with Mike Fiers. Prince Fielder will be the batter. That was an error on Altuve, his 4th of the season. The infielders come in with runners at first and third and 1 out for Fielder.
This is not for Mike Fiers. This is a conversation with his infield right now. And if he could get all 25 guys on that mound right now, I'm sure he would have the conversation with all 25 guys on that mound. Somehow, some way, they need to figure this out and make plays behind their pitchers to get them back in the dugout.
Yeah, this inning has really come unraveled. 2 runs home now. There was a wild pitch, an error, a failure to cover first base. 2-0, and now it's Fielder batting. Fielder has been in a slump. 187, 3 homers, 28 runs batted in, 0 for his last 12, but he's hit the Astros well in his career to the tune of 302 with 30 homers. Odor might take off. It's rolled slowly up the third base line and going foul. Strike 1 to Fielder. Fielder's been losing playing time at first base. With that 0 for 12 and with other players doing well, Jurickson Profar has moved right in. And he was playing second base and is tonight when Odor was serving his 7-game suspension, but he was working out at first before this game today. And Mitch Moreland also has not been hitting too much lately. So Fielder trying to regain some playing time. He cranks one foul. 0-2. .302 lifetime hitter against Houston with 30 homers, 106 runs batted in. Fielder picked up career RBI number 1,000 this year in late April. Odor's going. It's hit foul and out of play. Odor has 6 stolen bases in 7 tries. And situations like this present themselves for the offensive team. 2 runs home early, and it's not at all unusual to see a runner take off to try to complicate the inning even further for the team in the field. Just catch them off guard a little bit and put up a huge number.
Because you're actually going to create an extra out for the opposing team to get, because with Odor in motion, you're trying to keep out of the double play with Prince at the plate.
He takes in the dirt. 1-2. Since the start of 2015, Fielders hit .337 against the Astros. Last year, the Rangers finished 2 games ahead of Houston, and both going to the playoffs. Fielder hit .305 last season with 23 homers. Up the middle, and that gets into center field. Run number 3 comes home. Odor going first to third. And the RBI single belongs to Fielder. His 29th run batted in.
That shift in place, just a ground ball up the middle that nobody can get to. Pitch looked like it was about a foot off the outside corner, but Fielder aggressive on it. Was able to get a barrel on it and shoot it back up the middle. Another first and third situation for the Rangers. It's truly remarkable what the Rangers do to the Astros.
3 runs on 4 hits so far with an error. Ryan Rua, the 7th batter here in the first inning. Chris Davinsky's warming up. Line drive, Altuve. He had some hang time on that one. 2 outs. Rua hit it sharply. Altuve up to grab it. Davinsky's warming up here in the first for Houston. And it's Elvis Andrus. Andrus checks in at .293. He has 2 homers, 21 runs batted in. That one's out into center field, but Altuve's in center field for the diving catch. Tremendous play by Jose Altuve. How about this one, Blummer?
That's a huge play in this situation. Hit just hard enough to allow Altuve to get there and make a fantastic catch to finally end this first inning. Guy on this ball club that should know all about the lumber, and it's Evan Gattis. Goes up there bare knuckled. Has been taking some great swings since May 17th. 8 bombs since then. Second most in Major League Baseball. Swinging a good bat. Doing some good work behind home plate also.
Yes, he has been. There's ball 1 to Gattis with 9 homers, 23 runs batted in this season. A .248 batting average for Evan. 3 homers in the last 3 games. It's 2 balls, no strikes with a 3-0 lead for Texas. We want to go back and correct something. We were apparently given the incorrect information about the error being charged to Altuve. It, in fact, was charged to Marwin Gonzalez. in that first inning, which makes more sense. So we apologize for that. 2 balls and a strike. Well, Colby Lewis spotted with a 3-0 lead at home, where he's 2-0 with a 4.50 ERA. Works the second inning. Gets a swing there, and it's a 2-ball, 2-strike count on Gaddis. He was born right here in Dallas. In 16 games against Texas, he's hit .305. Evan taps the slider foul. And that has been the go-to pitch for Colby. He shut out the Astros for 7 innings in Houston in beating the Astros 2-1 May 20th. And now it's a full count. Gaddis is a .278 career hitter against the Rangers. Ball 4 puts him on. He saw that pitch well.
It's kind of a gutsy take, but he gets it.
It was. Only the 16th walk in 71 innings for Lewis.
It's a good look at it. Low. You got to trust Evan the way he's been swinging the bat.
You bet.
Because if it's in the zone the way he's been swinging, he's probably going to let it go and try and rip the cover off it.
Luis Valbuena takes a look at ball 1. Valbuena, a .226 hitter, has 6 homers, 17 runs batted in. But .310 with 4 homers in his last 13 games. Lewis has been dinged for 10 home runs. That's lashed into right field past a diving Profar. Gaddis will keep going to third. Here's Mazzara's long throw. It's offline. And it's first and third, nobody out on the hustle of Gaddis. Mazzara has a big time arm, but was not accurate with that one.
Pretty gutsy move by Evan Gaddis, because that ball was hit well also and got to Mazzara in a hurry. It's a good look at the swing, getting around that fastball. Valbuena does. And again, shoots that 4.5 hole as the runner being held on. But Gaddis testing that arm of Mazzara.
It was an aggressive move.
Good to see the Astros offense. A couple base runners on early, trying to get back in this ball game as quick as they possibly can.
Carlos Gomez had 191. Hit his first home run of the season yesterday. He also had a double in that game. He had gone 137 at bats regular season between homers. There's strike 1 to Gomi.
Usually you'd like to be past second base or on the bag before the ball gets to that fielder. But Gaddis put his head down. He was on a mission and made it.
Gomez swings through that one with a big cut. 0-2.
Might have been that BP heater right there.
Looked like it.
It's a good pitch against guys who have incredibly aggressive and big swings.
You just saw why.
Yep.
One and two. AJ Hinch was talking with the media about Colby Lewis before the game today and what he has said, and taking a look at some of Colby's stuff. Loves the slider, likes to start it on the outside corner to right-handed batters. Not a bad idea to move up closer to the plate. Strikeout. Number 2 of the game.
Tough to take those strikeouts when you have a runner at third base, less than 2 outs.
You bet. Marwin Gonzalez, a .220 hitter with 4 homers, has 12 runs batted in. A .159 road average for Marwin. Jason Castro's on deck. The Astros hoping to do some damage in the 8-9 spots in the order here against Lewis. Marwin went 1 for 5 in the Oakland series. In for a strike to him. He's played now in 17 of the last 18 games. 10 of those in the starting lineup. He's the first American League player to make a start at every infield position this year. As for Lewis, who pitched in Japan for a while, he now has 100 professional wins, 76 in Major League Baseball. 1-1. Colby took off some weight, doing a lot of bicycling over the winter after right knee surgery. He worked 204 innings last year. He's from Bakersfield, California, went to Bakersfield College. 2-1. With that 10-1 record, a 2.39 ERA in 16 career games against the Astros, he just has always either pitched well or had tremendous run support. There's Profar feeding the middleman, and Andrus makes it a 4-6-3 double play. No runs, a hit, a man left. We go to the bottom of the second inning, 3-0 Texas. On Root Sports is brought to you by Lexus. The new 2016 Lexus ES and ES Hybrid, it's next level luxury. And by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing too high. 3-0 Texas. Terrible start for the Astros. Their fans walking concourse before the game. Hope to see better things happening here. Mike Fiers throwing ball one to Bobby Wilson. Wilson has filled in well behind the dish. 284. 2 homers, 15 runs batted in for Wilson. He's made 18 starts. Soft pop. Marwin Gonzalez into foul territory, 1 out. Chris Davinsky was warming up in the first inning. Now Mike Fiers coming out for a fresh start in the second, facing Profar, who opened this game offensively for Texas with a triple to right field. Profar had missed the last 2 seasons with injuries, and now really stepping up with that .405 average. There's strike one for Fiers. Profar is from Curacao, and he had signed as a free agent, was the Rangers' top prospect, but he's had shoulder problems, had a muscle tear, and he didn't play at all in 14, didn't play in 15, surgery on the shoulder. Ground ball, Correa from behind second takes care of out number 2. Now Profar is making his presence felt. He's been in the big leagues before in both 2012 and 2013.
Now it seems like early on here, since being recalled, he's really turned the corner. Pretty good job by Jeff Bannister, too, to get him, Odor, and Fielder into the lineup.
A lot of things are going well for the Rangers. They're 18-10 against the clubs in their division. Ian Desmond reached on what was ruled an infield hit. He rips this one into left field, and Desmond's 2 for 2, continuing his strong play. Omar Mazzara next. His nickname is the Big Chill.
I might call him the Eraser because he's erased all thoughts of Josh Hamilton even being in this organization.
Good way to put it. Josh is out for the year after more knee surgery. Mazzara singled to right and came around to score on the Fielder hit. The runner takes off on this pitch in the dirt, and he'll make it easy. Well, we have a call here by the home plate umpire, though. Let's see. Okay, he was hit by a pitch. So Mazzara takes his base. He wasn't moving for a while there. It's a hit batsman for Fiers, his second of the year.
It's a curveball again. Got a wild pitch on the curveball earlier in this game. Now he hits Mazzara with it.
He has struggled with that curveball last start as well.
Almost couldn't just get out of the way of it.
Adrian Beltre struck out earlier. Grounds this one to third. Valbuena steps on the bag for the force on Desmond. And it's no runs, a hit, 2-man left, 3-0 Rangers.
Rangers lead. Join the Astros at Minute Maid Park on Friday, June 17th as they take on the Cincinnati Reds. 10,000 fans will receive an Astros gym bag presented by Houston Methodist. For more info, visit Astros.com or call 1-877-9-ASTROS. Astros looking for their first win here this year. Their first win against the Rangers this year. And talking to these guys, you know, Jose Altuve said it best, when we can't even think about what we did with the Rangers in the past. We have to think about the baseball that we've been playing here lately, build off of that, winning 8 out of their last 9 and getting it done in different ways, especially here for the offense recently, manufacturing runs without hitting the home run. So a lot of confidence coming in. That's what they have to focus on, not what's happened in the past, guys.
Jason Castro fouls it back. There's strike one. Thanks, Julia. 208 for Castro. 4 homers, 14 runs batted in. He said today he got a little bit of extra sleep when the club came up after the game yesterday. He really feels good today. He's hit 118 against Texas this year. He's coming back from that flu-like or upper respiratory situation that he had, and now bangs one into right center field, and Profar unable to make the pickup. So that's a hit for Castro, hit number 3 for the Astros tonight.
Good placement by Castro. Profar playing rover out there in right field. Would have been a tough play to come back and throw against your body at that distance and get Castro. Second inning in a row, the Astros have had the leadoff man on.
Yes. At first and third, nobody out in the second inning, and couldn't cash in with a strikeout and a double play ball.
Ooh.
Foul back. George Springer with strike one. Let's see. Kevin Eschenfelder is doing Tuesday and Wednesday's game, but not necessarily Thursday yet. So we'll wait and see. Hopefully Ash will be back and in good voice again. In for a strike on Springer, and George falls behind 0-2 in the count. Lewis fields the comebacker, throws badly and into center field. Well, a golden opportunity for Lewis to get probably a double play, but that would have required an on-target throw, and he bounced it behind Andrews.
Yeah, no excuse. That's just a poorly thrown baseball. That was a golden opportunity. Now with the Astros having an extra shot or an extra out in this inning, can they take advantage of it? That throw just spiked.
Sure was. Looked like he didn't have a good grip on it.
You know what it was? He didn't take that extra step to get his feet under him to make that good throw.
Okay.
For me.
Fielder's choice, and E1. Now Altuve, ball one. Well, this is an opportunity the Astros certainly want to seize, though. Altuve singled in the first inning. He now has a 14-game road hitting streak, in addition to a 12-game overall streak alive. Carlos Correa on deck. Rangers generally have played well in the field. That's their 27th error. Altuve cranks one to right field. Mazzara back. Altuve, Oppo, 3-run homer to tie it. That's number 10, and Altuve creates a brand new ball game, giving him 34 runs batted in.
It's been a while since we've seen that home run ball from Jose Altuve, and you couldn't have picked a better time to see it. Really just talking about how Altuve was commenting about how they're playing some small ball right here. They needed the big shot. He provided it.
It's some big ball from a small guy.
He's been doing that, especially with that Oppo pop that he's been showing this season.
Now the Astros get back to square one, and nobody out. Carlos Correa looks at strike one.
I wouldn't be mad if they went back to back right here.
You wouldn't throw a tirade?
No.
It's one ball and one strike. What a time for Altuve to step up. Castro started with a single, and then Springer hit the ground ball back to the mound, and what could have been a double play ball wound up an error and an opportunity for a tying 3-run homer. This one rolls out to short. Andrus gets Correa. One out.
Good look at the home run swing. Fastball away. Talked about letting it travel. Altuve did a great job of that. That swing makes you think that he was looking that way to drive the ball the other way.
He had gone 119 at bats since his last homer. He's hitting .429 against high pitches, second in the majors. Now Colby Rasmus gets into one, and that one goes foul with good distance.
Colby blew him up. Colby Lewis blew up Colby Rasmus last AB with that fastball in. We know Colby, if he's ready for it, can turn on any pitch.
Altuve's last homer before a moment ago was May 5th against Seattle. Now a 1-ball, 1-strike count. After all the misfortune the Astros have had, the mistakes they've made, they still have a tie ball game now. 2 balls and a strike. The last time they beat, and the only time they beat Lewis, was June 25th here in Texas in 2010 when Brian Moeller was his mound opponent. Rasmus puts it in the air, foul, and out of play. 2-2. Last year, Colby Lewis started 5 times against the Astros. He won 4 of the 5. And he won a 12-9 game here in August, surviving 10 hits and 7 earned runs in 6 innings. Rasmus takes 3-2, and in that game he gave up 3 homers, including a grand slam by Jason Castro, and still won the game. Rasmus is down on strikes. Number 3. And it's Evan Gattis.
Well-located slider working Colby Rasmus on the inside.
Gattis drew a walk on a 3-2 count. Lets the slider go by for ball 1. He was saying tonight before the game that catching has given him a little bit better insight into the game the other catchers call. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's been thinking along with the other team's catcher a little bit when he's hitting, with that thought process that he uses when he's calling the game.
Kind of opens up a lot of other questions for me, Brownie.
You're an inquisitive mind.
Well, it's good. It's good to hear that Evan thinks that way, but what's to stop him when he's DHing from thinking that way is my question.
Well, my point is, if you're DHing, are you really feeling like you're in the flow of the game?
Well, I think that's a better point, and hopefully maybe through interpretation, that's what Evan Gattis is trying to say, that there's more flow to the game. You're a little more involved. You don't have that disconnect in between each at bat by not playing defense.
Right. Strike 3 call. Lewis regroups to get the next 3 after Altuve. It's an opposite field homer, his 10th of the year, to tie it at 3 and 4. Astros 3, Rangers 3. We go to the last of the 3rd. And the Astros tying it on the Jose Altuve homer. He is 2 for 2 in this game. The Rangers got 3 in the 1st inning. Rougned Odor reached on the error by Marwin Gonzalez in that inning. He takes strike 1. So Mike Fiers gets a fresh start here with his club giving him the run support to erase that 3-0 deficit. The Astros have made some poor choices in the field and just not executed very well. But Fiers gets new life, and it's 1 ball, 1 strike. Fiers has had quality work in 2 of his last 3 starts. He had a no decision against Arizona last time, giving up 1 run in 6 innings. Odor puts one in the air deep right field toward the corner. Springer out of room, and that gives Texas a 4-3 advantage. Odor hits number 8.
For those that argue that the ball doesn't carry here in Arlington, I give you Exhibit A. I didn't think that ball was hit all that well off the bat of Odor. But he had good trajectory on it and enough exit velocity to get that thing out of here. Looked like it was off the end of the bat. Got a little bit quick on that cutter, I think it was, from Fiers. Just lofted it barely over that 349 sign.
Now it's Fielder with a ground ball. Altuve in right field. Throws to Marwin Gonzalez. 1 out.
Left fielder Ryan Rua.
Just out of the reach of that fan, barely over the 349 sign. Rangers getting their 61st long ball of the year. They've been out homered at home 47-32. But Odor puts his club in front again by 1. Now it's Ryan Rua. He lined to Altuve in the first. And in tight, ball 1. Your point, though, is illustrated by the home road splits for the Rangers. They're averaging 5.5 runs at home and about 4 on the road.
A little extra life on those fly balls helps.
It does. 1-1. They're third in the league in runs scored, 274 now. And for a strike, 1-2. Rua takes it. 2 balls, 2 strikes to the former infielder playing left field tonight. He's also played first base. He's DH, playing left and right this year. And we talked about Josh Hamilton. Well, his absence has left that opening in the outfield, and Rua has been one of those who's filled that. Still 2 balls, 2 strikes for Mike Fiers, shooting for win number 4 of the year. Now full count. The Rangers winning their 9 home series in a row have tied a club record. They set that back in 1993. And that was the last year of the old ballpark. They won the last 9 home series they played in that park. Kevin Kennedy was the manager. Nolan Ryan was on the team. Rua strikes out. 2 outs.
Get your running shoes on and join us for the Badges and Bases 5K and 10K run at Minute Maid Park on September 17th. Kids 12 and under can enter the Kids Fun Run, and everyone receives a commemorative T-shirt. For more information, visit astros.com/run.
Julia's a runner. She might have some interest. Elvis Andrus hit the line drive, and what a great play Altuve made to close out that long first inning for Mike Fiers on the 8th batter he faced. Strike to Andrus.
Tell you what, if the Rangers stay at 3 runs the rest of this ball game, that might be the play of the game.
It could be. He taps it third base side and foul. 0-2 to Andrus, who hits better when he's down toward the bottom of the order. Kind of tough to argue with a manager when he points to the numbers. You're hitting well in the 7 and 8 spot. It's difficult to get a promotion that way.
You say, as a hitter, do you argue to get out of that position?
Maybe not. Please bat me 8th. Andrews slashes a line drive. Marwin Gonzalez with the catch. Odor's home run here in the 3rd inning makes it 4-3 Texas after 3.
Been playing good baseball for a while now. I think it's not a surprise. We have a good team, and I think it's important for us to continue to fire on all cylinders. You know, we're not perfect. We make our fair share of mistakes, and we have different ways and different strengths throughout the team. So it's not a surprise to me. I think it's more of we're playing our brand of baseball and we're getting rewarded for it with some wins. So I think it's important for us to continue to do that. We've got a long schedule ahead. We're not anywhere near where we're going to be, but we have a good team. We can play good baseball, and there's nothing we can't do on the field positively.
Guys, that was a Skipper with the Geico quote of the day. Another thing I found interesting that he said in post-game was that, these days when the team gets behind, there's no sense of panic like there was maybe earlier in the season. We saw some of that from this team when they were struggling. Not seeing that anymore. They know they can come back. We've already seen it today with these guys just playing much more confident baseball, guys.
Could be a big game for them to win. Valbuena, the batter, he singled to right field. Lewis looking down at his footing after throwing ball 2 to go to a 2-2 count. Altuve's 3-run homer tied it. Odor's home run gave Texas a 1-run lead again. That's out into right field for a hit. Valbuena's 2 for 2.
Center fielder Carlos Gomez.
There wasn't a player shifted out there where he hit it in right field.
It was well located.
Gomez struck out in the 2nd inning.
3rd straight inning with the leadoff man on.
Well, Castro triggered something when he singled in the 3rd inning leading off. Gomez, though, after the Astros had a leadoff walk in the 2nd from Gaddis, then the single by Valbuena. They had 1st and 3rd, nobody out. Gomez struck out. Now he pushes a bunt foul, and Gonzalez bounced into a double play. We talked about Colby Lewis's 9-game winning streak against the Astros. Only 4 pitchers have ever had longer winning streaks against Houston. Juan Marichal of the Giants had an 11-game winning streak. Sandy Koufax of the Dodgers 11. Giovanni Gallardo 10 and Tom Glavine 10. Roll to 3rd. Beltre to 2nd, getting the force, and no double play. A 5-4 play to Profar. And Valbuena is still down. Very slow to get up. He's looking at the jewelry. Apparently, a little problem with the jewelry as he came in on that slide.
Not sure if they brought that trainer along with them to fix that kind of injury issue.
No jewelry repair guy on the infield.
Send the bill to Jerks and Profar.
Marwin Gonzalez went into a 4-6-3 double play on the ground in the second inning. Jason Castro on deck. Gomez, who's at first, has 6 stolen bases in 8 tries. Bobby Wilson, the catcher, has thrown out 4 of 10. Rangers have been very good at defending against the steal. Slide step there, and it's strike 1. It would be tough to run on him with that slide step.
Yeah, Colby, the veteran that he is, mixing up looks, mixing in the slide step.
That's smoked on a line to center field and in for a hit in front of Desmond. And now Gomez goes first to third as Desmond holds the baseball. And Ranger fans a little unsettled. Desmond didn't come up firing, but it's first and third, 1 out on Gonzalez' sharp single.
We see Carlos Gomez take those pretty healthy turns at the bases right here. He took the turn. When he saw Ian Desmond not in a very good throwing position, he took advantage of it.
Now down by 1. It's first and third, 1 out.
Ball smoked from Marwin up the middle. You can see him taking that turn and pretty much just ran right in the face of Ian Desmond.
Sure did. That's 6 hits for both clubs, each club with 1 error. Gomez taking some liberties at third. Beltrade trying to check his lead on Castro, who cranks one out toward right center field. In for a hit. Run number 4 will score. The throw comes in toward the infield. That's an RBI single for Castro, and it's tied at 4. Well, Gomez, who hustled going first to third, comes home easily. Castro's 2 for 2. That's his 15th run batted in. And we have a wild one going, Blummer.
Yeah, we do. It's good to see the Astros answering back every time that the Texas Rangers make something happen on the offensive end. But how about the bottom part of this order? Creating runs, turning this lineup over with base runners on. Castro, that might have been that BP fastball too that we keep hearing about that Kobe Lewis has. Good job picking up that knock. Base hit with a runner in scoring position.
7 hits for the Astros now, and George Springer is 0 for 2. Well, Castro said today he felt much better than he has been, even though he's been back available and has caught a previous game. Still kind of getting over the illness, and that nice rest he got last night enabled him to come to the park today feeling very much better. Springer rolls one to shortstop. Here's the play at second, and then the gun on to first by Profar. 6-4-3, and the Astros settle for a tying run on 3 hits. They leave a man. It's 4-4 in the 4th.
Rangers. Most consecutive wins when scoring 4+ runs. See how important it is to the Astros to get those 4 runs on the board or more. 12 consecutive when they do. Key here in Arlington, though, is keeping those Texas Rangers off the board the rest of the way.
That is the key. Now Mike Fiers out in a 4-4 game to face Wilson, Profar, and Desmond in the Ranger 4th inning. Bobby Wilson, who's hit 2 grand slams this year, and that came in the same week, comes up for the second time. He fouled out to the first baseman, Marwin Gonzalez. The shift is on. Marwin, the only player on the infield between first and second. And it's strike 1 for Fiers. Backhanded, Carlos Correa, long throw from short, 1 out. Now, the last time these two teams played, May 22nd, Texas beat Houston 9-2. And Houston's record was 17-28. The Astros were 10 games out of first after that game. Since then, they've been a different club, going 11-2. Hoping to prove to the Rangers they're a different club and tougher to beat. Jurickson and Profar with a triple scored in the first and grounded out in the second inning. Takes strike 1.
I remember coming in after that sweep at home to do that Baltimore series with you, and it was a rough atmosphere coming in after that. It was some deflated spirits in that clubhouse, but they turned it around quickly against Baltimore. That was a great sign.
Really was. High shot to right field, way back. Springer turning now. It didn't go where a lot of fans thought it might go. It's out number 2 for Profar. Go back to that situation May 23rd. The Rangers at that point were really flying, and then since then it has changed quite a bit. They had a 10-game lead over the Astros, who were in last place, and the Astros now have really reversed that, and now they're 7 games back. So that's how it's changed in that period of time. But you talked about the Baltimore series. First game of that homestand, the Astros had to work hard to win it in 13 innings, 3-2. Desmond hits a foul ball. He's 2 for 2. And then they went on to sweep that Baltimore series. All of the games were close. They won 3-2 in 13, 4-3, and 4-2. And then, as you and Ash did those ball games in Anaheim, they lost the first one and then started a 5-game winning streak, lost a game, and won 3 in a row over Oakland. And both these teams had weekend 3-game series sweeps, so that brings you up to tonight. In the dirt for ball 2. Cubs lead the Phillies 5-0. They're in the bottom of the 7th at Philadelphia. The Phillies, one of the surprise teams. John Lester has the shutout going for the Cubs. He got a home run from Jason Hayward, number 3 of the year. Big cut there by Desmond. He goes down on a knee, and the count runs to 2-2. The Astros have 4 games here, 3 in Tampa Bay, 2 in St. Louis, with an off day between the Tampa Bay and St. Louis series. Then back home for Cincinnati and the Angels, starting June 17th with the Reds. Roll foul. The Rangers really rolling lately. In their last 11 games, they've hit .297 as a team, with a .480 slugging percentage in those 11. Gomez in right center. And in the 4th inning, Fiers gets the side in order for the first time tonight to keep it tied at 4.
3-run homer back in the third to tie the game up then. Altuve, who told me before the game that he really liked the fact that this offense was manufacturing runs in different ways, playing a little small ball, didn't need the home run, and then comes up with his 10th homer of the season. He also said, when I asked about approach against Colby Lewis, he said, you know, honestly, I'm not even the guy to ask. I can't even hit this guy. I just pray for some hits. Look at him today. A couple already. That's Jose Altuve for you guys.
Single and a 3-run homer.
Not just any hits, right?
Well, you can ask him after this game then. He can't deny any success. Pitch is up for Colby Lewis, and it's 1-1. Altuve's 3-run homer. Tied at 3-3. Then the Odor homer in the third made it 4-3. Castro single, 4-4. Now a line drive hit. Altuve 3 for 3 in this game. '79 hits for the season. This is game number 59. 10th 3-hit game. Tied for first this year.
Can flat out hit. Him praying for hits is a little greedy, but I like the idea. But it just really seems, what I love about Altuve is it really seems when times are looking rough or desperate for the Houston Astros, he always seems to be the guy at home plate, and he always seems to be the guy standing up and getting a clutch hit.
Now drawing some attention after stealing a base in the first inning. Carlos Correa is 0 for 2. Diving play here by Andrews, and a throw gets the out in a spectacular fashion to a stretching profile on Altuve. What a play by Andrews.
Pretty good effort by Altuve trying to beat that throw, but that was a heck of a play by Elvis Andrews. Ball was hit well from Carlos Correa. Andrews showing good range, good body control, able to have a good strong arm on that throw. You just hope nothing happened to Altuve with that knee going hard into that base.
Yep. Andrews takes care of out number 1. Now Colby Rasmus is 0 for 2. He rips one that'll go foul. It's fun to watch though.
Especially if you're Colby Lewis. Just a long strike.
Correa dives back into first.
Look at Altuve trying to beat that throw. Right about there, that knee kind of takes a funky move, and you can see the grimace on Altuve's face.
It looked like maybe the hip flexor might have gotten involved too. 1-1. That one will go foul as well. Rasmus glad it will be foul. He's at 1-2. A.J. Hinch's club playing so well in this last 2-week stretch, coming into this 4-game series wanting to set a different kind of tone against the Rangers, immediately falling behind 3-0 after 1, and now it's a free-for-all at 4-4 in the 5th. Bobby Wilson out to talk. Lewis is trying for a 6-game winning streak to open this season, which would equal his single season high. Doug Brocail, former Astro pitcher and pitching coach, is the Rangers pitching coach. Fly ball left field, coming over toward the line. Rua. 2 outs.
Academy Sports and Outdoors and the Houston Astros are hitting home runs for Houston. Those home runs benefiting Houston Children's Charity. Most home runs in Major League Baseball since May 17th. Adam Duvall in Cincinnati has been tearing the cover off it, but also Evan Gattis right behind him with 8 home runs. There's a shocker, a Boston Red Sox on one of those lists.
Yeah.
My gosh, that team can hit.
Big time year for the Sox. Gattis is 0 for 1 and hits this one in the air to left field. Rua coming in. No runs, 1 hit. Big play by Andrus to Profar. Keeps this game tied at 4. A 4-4 game. Astros and Rangers in the first of a 4-game set. Go to the bottom of the 5th inning. Mazara, Beltre, and Odor coming up against Mike Fiers, who's in the top 10 in the American League in strikeout to walk ratio, averaging 4 strikeouts for every walk. Tonight he hasn't walked anybody. He struck out 2. Mazara has a single and he's been hit by a pitch. Off-speed pitch comes in for strike 1. Fiers, 30 years old, from Pompano Beach, Florida. Went to Nova Southeastern College. 22nd round pick of Milwaukee in 09. Tap foul, and it's 0-2. Now to cool off these Ranger bats. That's the question for the Astros pitching staff in this 4-game series. Mazara calls time, backs away. Rangers have hit .281 against the Astros, and they've scored 29 runs in the 6 games prior to tonight. Astros pitching staff has gotten better and better and has worked its way up to 9th in ERA in the American League. But this is a real test, a 4-game series against this club in this park. Curveball makes it 1-2.
Fiers has really been trying to make that pitch against left-handed hitters with that down and in breaking ball, just unable to locate it in a spot where he can get the swing and miss.
It's 2 balls, 2 strikes. Fiers certainly pitched well enough to win last time out. Got a no decision. His last win came against Cleveland May 9th. That was his 3rd straight win at that time. Close one, goes for ball 3.
That looked like a strike to me, Brownie.
Yeah, it looked good.
Good pitch, good depth. Should get the call.
Quinn Wolcott is the home plate umpire tonight. Foul back. Lance McCullers went 7 innings yesterday, gave up 2 runs and getting the 5-2 win over Oakland. The Astros have had 4 quality starts in their last 5 games. They've won 4 in a row away from Minute Maid Park. They're now 11-16 on the road this year. Foul back. Fire's going with the off-speed stuff, and Mazara's been able to foul it, but not do anything more than that. Trey Hillman, the bench coach, on the left. Rich Dower on the right, first base coach. Trey grew up not far from here. In the air, Correa out into shallow left center field and will not be able to come up with a fantastic play. Looked like he might try one of those patented over-the-shoulder catches, but it's a single for Mazara, and we go to Julia.
Thanks a lot, Brennan. It's time to take a look at our Chevy Stroke poll. Make sure to head over to the Root Sports Twitter page and vote. How often should we show this Springer's catch in Arlington? This was April 12th. Well, here's your options. They're going through them so quickly, but we want to know how often you want to see this. So go to the Twitter page, Root Sports SW, to tell us how often you would love to see the game-saving catch by George Springer right here in Arlington. It robbed Leonys Martin of a grand slam, walk-off grand slam, one of the best catches of his career.
Yeah. Adrian Beltre is 0 for 2. Love his reactions. This ball 1. He gives you some serious body reaction, Blummer.
No, he still has fun playing the game. Putting up big numbers offensively, and what's more impressive to me is he's still able to go out there and play a great third base. He hasn't given into that American League role with the DH. Kind of makes you wonder how much longer he can play, because if he's still playing third base, if he moves that DH role and he can still have a potent bat like he should be able to.
True.
He could play for quite a while.
16 games against Houston since last August 3rd. 381 with 10 runs batted in for Beltre. Only 2 third basemen played in more games at that position. Brooks Robinson and Greg Nettles. In the air, Correa. It's fun to watch Altuve. 1 out. He's kind of looking around near second base.
He's almost like Bugs Bunny. He wants to go out there and play all the positions himself.
He does. He just can't stand not being able to catch a pop-up.
The kid wants to win. He wants to win bad.
He wants to do something to help out. It's a helpless feeling. Rougned Odor reached on an error by Marwin Gonzalez and homered. Infield shifts around for Odor. Odor puts it in the air, and Correa pursues it. Now he's going to look out to Gomez in center. Gomez has it. 2 outs.
Let's take a look at our Ford spray chart. Or we're going to go this moment in history.
Yeah.
Back on the state in 2007. Trevor Hoffman breaks that number of saves at 500. The beautiful part about this is I was actually lucky enough to be playing shortstop during this ball game.
Nice.
And got to celebrate with Trevor Hoffman, who was truly one of the greater teammates and greater people in all of baseball.
There you are, Blummer.
Yep, snuck in there.
Number 27.
Those are good highlights. That's the best part about playing, is you play long enough, you're able to get in there on some historic moments like that.
What kind of a guy was he to play with?
Phenomenal. One of the best. Incredibly positive, likable, approachable, true competitor.
Yeah, because he never had the big fastball. Fielder is 1 for 2 with an RBI. His changeup was his big pitch.
Yeah, you know what? I remember facing him in '99. We went through Jack Murphy, and I was a rookie. And the way that stadium was set up, you were in the dugout. The stands were literally right on top of you. and they start playing that Hell's Bells, that gets your juices flowing a little bit.
Yeah.
And not in a good way.
No.
But I remember facing him. When I was in that sequence you just saw right there where he got his 500 say maybe throwing 87, 88 tops. But I remember facing him. He had 92-mile-an-hour fastball that he'd paint on that outside corner, and then he'd throw that wiffle ball changeup at you. He had no chance.
Yeah. What was amazing was that as he lost miles per hour in his fastball, though, he was still effective.
Yep.
Fielder lines. Altuve diving. Got a glove on it. Couldn't hold it. On out to Springer in right field. A single for Fielder. Mazzara to third base. And it's first and third, 2 outs for Ryan Rua. Fielder's 2 for 3.
Pretty good effort by Altuve out there in that shift rover position.
He's been all over this field tonight.
The way he's playing makes you understand that he knows about this rivalry. He knows about the situation this ball club is in against the Rangers.
Yes. It's an all-out effort game for him. Ryan Rua 0 for 2, lined out, struck out. In the air, and here's Gomez. And the threat is turned aside by Mike Fiers. No runs, 2 hits, 2 men stranded, 4-4 after 5. Presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. By Academy Sports and Outdoors, donating $100 for each Astros home run and $200 for each Correa home run to Houston Children's Charity. And by Neighbors Emergency Center, the best neighbors ever, making lives better. First pitch here, and Colby Lewis throws. Luis Valbuena showing bunt. Takes that pitch for ball 1. No, make it a strike. Yep, that's strike 1. He is 2 for 2. 2 singles to right field. Right field is where Profar's set up right now. Ground ball goes to Profar in right. He drops it though, and Valbuena is on. It's an error on Profar, his first.
Center fielder Carlos Gomez.
Can you really give an error on somebody that's not even playing in the infield?
I think you can. Let's take a look at it.
I mean, I know he boxed it, but
yeah. What do you think? No error? Hit?
If he's not in the shift, that's an easy knock.
Mm-hmm. That's true.
That is just a. Oh, he almost whipped on that.
Right. I think that's why he got an error. He just didn't handle it properly. Gomez 0 for 2. Big cut, strike 1. And Lewis has been working Gomez pretty well tonight with the off-speed stuff, with that big swing, not producing contact. It did produce a ground ball into a force play last time. And see, he lost his balance here. 0-2.
Oh, man. I'm not even sure how this happens. Good recovery, though. I'll give him that.
That was interesting. Marwin Gonzalez on deck. Each club with 8 hits. 1-2. A couple of the at-bats at home for Gomez were different. He had the bat more under control, did not take such a big swing to go off balance like that or come out from under his batting helmet. And he got good results. Oh, was that close?
Good take.
Yeah. 2-2.
Got a little bit of a mystery zone going here. See if Colby, man, that's well located.
It is.
The entire baseball within that strike zone. You should be able to get the call. See if Carlos Gomez can take advantage of the extra pitch.
He does. Drives it deep to center field, but it's going to be caught. Desmond is there. And it's out number 1. He hit it well.
Well, judging by the reaction of Carlos Gomez, he stood up on it. I thought it was going.
Came off the bat looking pretty good. But Desmond was there for the catch, and that's 1 out for Lewis.
He got the extra pitch and one hanging out there for him. Yeah, I'd like to get the ball a little bit better if you're going to. I guess I don't know. I'm going to stop right there.
You're asking me?
Yeah, I was going to try and help out a little bit, but
all right,
I quit.
Ball 1, Marwin Gonzalez. There's no quitting in baseball, Blummer. Gonzalez 1 for 2. Hit the ball very well on a line for a single to center field in the 4th. It's down for ball 2. Jason Castro on deck. Rangers have had bullpen struggles this year. Foul back. It's 2-ball, 1 strike count. The Astros would love to test that Texas bullpen by grabbing a lead here in the 6th inning, forcing a pitching change. The pitch count not bad at all, though, with 82 so far for Lewis. Grounded to first. Fielder throwing high and safe at second base.
How about that?
The only hope for the Rangers was that Valbuena would come off the base, but he did not. As Andrews kept the tag on him, but the erroneous throw allows the Astros to set it up here.
Put himself in good position, just didn't finish the throw. Did a good job when that ball is on their left-hand side. You make that turn like that.
Fielder's choice, allowing Gonzalez to reach. E3, allowing Valbuena to be safe. Rangers have committed 2 errors on Valbuena in this inning, so he's leading a charmed life. And now, with 1 out, runners at first and second, it's Jason Castro batting. Well, the Astros got that opportunity back in the 2nd inning, 3rd inning rather, when Colby Lewis threw wildly on what would have been a double play ball. That opened the floodgates for a 3-run frame. Now they have another chance to cash in. Castro had led off that 3rd inning with a single. Then in the 4th inning, Jason came up for the 2nd time, and he got another single and drove in a run. In tight to him, ball 1. Let's go back to August 3rd last year.
Got him. Up and in heater. Castro pulled the hands in nicely and unloaded.
That was the grand slam. It's 2-0.
Positive vibes. Positive vibes. 2-0 count.
What are you looking for here if you're Castro?
I wish you could sit back and say just sit on the heater. Colby Lewis has shown a propensity to throw some off speed and fastball counts.
Pick off at second. Valbuena back. Pitch was called a strike, so it's 2-1 now. And there's some bullpen action going for Texas. Jackson and Barnett both getting loose. And tie it in. For the second time, Castro is almost hit by that pitch on his right elbow. So Lewis continues to crowd him and falls behind 3-1 now. And it's outside, ball 4. The bases are loaded now. 1 out for George Springer.
These base runners on. We're going to take a look at our Lexus defensive ratings. You see the ranking number on the left. These numbers right here will be given to you from data that we have accrued. And on the right, just my personal opinion. Ian Desmond, a converted shortstop out there in center field. I'd say give him a shot just because infielders that move to the outfield have a tendency to have a little bit shorter arm. Ryan Rua is in that same boat. But you got Mazar out there who's pretty athletic, has a strong arm, but we saw earlier in this ballgame when Gaddis tested him at third base, the accuracy might be an issue. But I also think that you have to take into account the Houston Astros have some decent speed out there that might test those arms.
Lewis with the bases loaded and 1 out faces Springer. George 0 for 3 tonight. He's hit 2 grand slams this year. One in that opening series at Yankee Stadium April 6th. And another one at Boston. There's strike 1. Let's take a look back at those 2 Springer slams.
Went down and got that one.
Springer takes and quickly is behind. 0-2 in the count.
Colby Lewis is doing a good job of working both sides of the plate through that first pitch slider. Got George trying to go out there and get it, anticipating the slider, but then came back. That fastball locked him up. Took it for that strike 2. Just takes one mistake.
Foul back by Springer. He winds up on his right knee. Big situation here with the Astros trying to snap a 4-4 tie. Bases loaded, 1 out. Altuve's on deck with Valbuena, Gonzalez, and Castro, the base runners. Springer hangs in at no balls, 2 strikes.
Good job fighting off 2 tough pitches to stay in this count.
Needing contact, and he's produced much better contact since he became the leadoff man. George is 2 for 3 with the bases loaded this season. Those 2 hits, the slams, of course. Way up. 1-2. Rangers have the 5th best ERA in the American League, 3.93. They have Yu Darvish back in their rotation now. That one won't travel. It's to shallow left field. Elvis Andrus out. Making the catch for out number 2. And Altuve will bat. Altuve's 3 for 3. 2 singles and a 3-run homer. Time called as Wilson and Lewis talk it over. Lewis nearing 100 pitches now, and with this stressful inning, it could be his last. Rangers are ready to make a move, but they're hoping Lewis can get them one more out. Jose up to 339 now.
Right man, right spot.
That's ball 1 in tight. That's one thing A.J. Hinch had talked about. If the hitters crowd the plate a little bit to try to take that slider away and force Colby Lewis to do something else, he may come inside and miss. He got the plate there, and it's 1-0.
Give Colby credit for going back in there, doubling up, but at the same time, it's got to be a strike. You got to be kidding me.
That changes a lot of things about this at bat. Altuve pops it up. Profar underneath. And the Astros are frustrated here in the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, 2 errors, 3 men left. It's still 4-4.
Astros 4, Rangers 4. We move to the bottom of the 6th. The 2016 Esurance MLB All-Star Game ballot is here. Head to astros.com/vote to choose your All-Stars and send them to the Midsummer Classic on July 12th in San Diego. Vote early and vote often at astros.com/vote. Brownie.
Thanks, Julia. Astros in a 4-4 game. Go to the bottom of the 6th inning. Elvis Andrus is the batter. He's lined out twice. He has stung the ball on both occasions. In tight. He shoots a look out at Mike Fiers.
What for?
I have no idea what that's all about.
They're not going to throw at Elvis Andrus.
They are not. Not in a 4-4 game leading off an inning. That is just ridiculous.
I agree.
It's 2-0. It's like he's expecting something, right?
Yeah. Well, the attitude of hitters these days, some of them, is how dare you throw a ball that close to me? And you have to understand that sometimes it actually gets away from the pitcher every now and then.
Every now and then it happens.
Nothing intentional about it. It just the release point gets messed up. The ball tails a little bit.
He's hitting .341, batting 8th. Now 3 balls and a strike to Andrews. Wilson on deck. Profar due up third. As Fires is at 80 pitches for the game. Leadoff walk. First walk of the night for Fires. See how the All-Star voting's going. Altuve leads at second. Correa fourth among shortstops. George Springer not among the top 15 outfitters in the American League.
That baffles me. They go on a George Springer campaign. Altuve's going to be there in the end, but George Springer, for me, if you just look at the numbers and look at the defense and see what he adds to this ball club, he's playing like an all-star here in the first half.
He really is. You know who else is pitching like an all-star? Will Harris.
Man, yeah. He's got to be a manager's pick. Well, they also do the final roster spot vote too.
Yes.
He could be one of those guys.
He could be. Bobby Wilson's 0 for 2. Ball 1. Double play possibility here. Wilson, though, has only grounded into 2 double plays and 76 at bats. Throw over to first. Andrews is 7 for 10 in steals. Now 2-0. Houston bullpen is busy. And Michael Phillies.
Good young live arm.
In for a strike. 2-1.
Good off-speed pitch to Bobby Wilson in that 2-0 count. Might have been sitting fastball. Fires pulled the string.
Robinson Chirinos is on a rehab assignment now. He could be back soon as the Rangers catcher. He was their primary catcher last year. Runner going. Ground ball in the hole. Correa backhanding. Throws to Marwin. And they stay out of a double play and a force at second by starting Andrews on the pitch. Out number 1.
1-0 and 2-1 counts are action counts. Means it's a good time to start that runner.
And that's going to be it for Mike Fiers, with Michael Feliz headed for the mound. Fiers going 5 1/3 tonight. It's a 4-4 game as he departs. Feliz will inherit a runner at second and 1 out when he comes in to face Profar right after this.
One out and a runner on. This pitching performance is brought to you by Kubota. It will be Michael Phillies, who is now in this ball game since May 1st, that 4-1 record. That outstanding ERA at .44 and the opponent batting average. This is pretty impressive. .06 against Michael Phillies. Great fastball, great slider. Throws the occasional changeup, but the ability to locate at 95+ miles an hour is a beautiful thing to watch from Michael Phillies.
Last 7 games, 3-0 with no runs, 2 hits, 18 strikeouts, and 2 walks. Profar takes his first pitch. Profar is 1 for 3, a triple and a run scored. First pitch is ball 1. He's with that very good performance against the Rangers. The 3 hitless innings. May 20th, that was at Houston. And he had no walks and struck out 6 Rangers in 3 innings that night. Big cut by Profar. He hits it in the air. Springer in right with the catch. No advance. Springer has that big time arm. Well advertised. Andrews is staying put. 2 outs. George has 6 outfield assists this year.
Got a little big on that fastball.
He did.
Sometimes you try and drive the ball, you create a little bit longer swing.
Ian Desmond has a pair of hits tonight. He's 2 for 3. Phillies worked on Saturday against Oakland. Pitch scoreless baseball. That's punched to right field deep. Springer way back with the catch. Just at the edge of the warning track to end the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, and a man left. Phillies keeps the score at 4-4.
By authority of Houston Astros, LLC, and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of Houston Astros, LLC.
It's turned out to be an interesting game. It's the Astros 4, the Rangers 4, each club with 8 hits. The Rangers have made 3 errors. The Astros 1. Tony Barnett is in for the 7th inning. In 23 games, he's 3-2 with a 2.66 ERA. He's done pretty well after coming from Japanese baseball. Blummer.
He's got quite a few pitches too. Fastball, slider, split finger, cutter, curveball. Be ready for it all.
Carlos Correa leads it off. He is 0 for 3. He taps a breaking ball, strike 1. Colby Lewis in 6 innings allowed the Astros 8 hits, 4 runs, walking 2, and fanning 4. Mike Fiers went 5 1/3. He allowed the Rangers 8 hits, 4 runs, walking 1 and fanning 2. Lewis had 3 earned runs of the 4 he allowed in his 6 innings. It's 1-1. 97 pitches for Colby Lewis. 64 were strikes. This Ranger bullpen has an ERA of 5.01. 9 wins and 12 losses. First baseman Fielder digging up the right field line into foul ground. Tries the over the shoulder play. Can't get there. 1-2. Bannister's called in a relatively fresh arm in Tony Barnett, who was born in Anchorage, Alaska, and went to Arizona State. He was drafted by Arizona and then released. That's how he wound up in Japan. He's pitched 3 times against the Astros. Gave up a 2-run homer to Colby Rasmus here, April 21st. Up to Correa, 2 balls, 2 strikes. Barnett had pitched 6 times in the previous 19 games. The Rangers have really gone through their bullpen quite a bit because their starters are not typically going deep into games, but their starters are doing well. Three balls, 2 strikes. Rangers starters are 25-10 with a 3.42 ERA. Most managers will take that. Correa looks at ball 4. And the Astros get another leadoff man on. They did it in the 2nd, the 3rd, the 4th, the 5th, the 6th on an error, and now the 7th.
There's 3 errors by the Texas Rangers. You'd like to see the Astros take advantage of those mistakes by Rangers. But again, they just continue to create opportunities. It's that batting average with runners in scoring position, unable to push those guys across.
Rasmus is 0 for 3. Strike 1 to Colby. Statistically, I guess you really don't count Balbuena leading off an inning because he's on an error, but nonetheless, it's 7 straight innings of the 8. Or 6 of the 7 rather that the Astros have had the leadoff man on base. And the throw goes over on Correa. Carlos is 8 for 11 in stolen bases. The Rangers have allowed just 19 steals. They've caught 10. Altuve stole a base. That was in the 1st inning. And again, Correa sees some action at first. Way outside. In fact, the catcher Wilson couldn't make the catch on it, and that is a wild pitch, getting Correa to second base.
That was not Bobby Wilson's fault. Set up outside, tried to move back in, trying to sneak that location, but pitch extremely out to the left. Did you see that look he gave Barnett? Like, what was that?
Well, that changes the perspective of this inning now with Correa in scoring position, nobody out, and a 1-1 count on Rasmus. Especially for a Ranger club that has turned 2 double plays in this game. Evan Gattis is on deck. Tonight the Astros are 2 for 9 with runners in scoring position. They really bolstered their batting average in that department in recent days. in tight on the breaking pitch, and it's 2-1. Tony Barnett pitched for 6 years with the Yakult Swallows in Japan. Rasmus grounds one foul. 2-2. Well, after the 4th game of this series on Thursday afternoon, the Astros will head for Tampa Bay, and the Rangers will go to Seattle for another series with the Mariners. A.J. Hinch and Colin McHugh talking over something. Rasmus rips a line drive into right field. Correa had to wait for it to clear. He's coming home. And here's the throw into second base, and the Astros have the lead 5-4. Line drive RBI single. Rasmus gives the Astros a lead by 1.
Rangers pitching all day has been trying to get in on the hands of Colby Rasmus. This one leaks up out over the middle of the plate. Colby does what Colby normally does with heaters. He can get the barrel to. He turns on it just past the outreached arm of Prince Fielder. And really, Mazzara had no intention of trying to even make an attempt on Correa at home plate.
It was kind of surprising, wasn't it?
Yeah, because Correa had to hold on the line drive, making sure it got past Prince Fielder at first base.
Sure did. Rasmus picks up his 35th RBI. The Astros are in the lead for the first time tonight. Evan Gattis is 0 for 2 with a walk. That's strike 1 to Gattis. Bueno on deck. Batting average against Tony Barnett is .293. He's making his 24th appearance of the year. That's fouled by Gattis. No balls and 2 strikes. And some of the folks who follow the Rangers are checking out all these bullpen appearances and wondering how things will hold up for the Ranger pen. Jake Diekman, the left-hander who throws so well, has 26 appearances. Sam Dyson, who's the closer now, has 29. And Sean Tollison, the former closer, has 20. Fouled away. Rangers, though, are very well endowed in the starting rotation. Cole Hamels and Derek Holland, 2 lefties, are having good seasons. Gattis swings at a pitch in the dirt and strikes out. 1 out. Strikeout number 5 for Ranger pitching tonight. Luis Valbuena's been a tough out. He has 2 singles and he reached on an error. That's ball 1 to Valbuena. He's one of the guys who's really improved since that tough month of April for several Astros hitters. And against Texas, he's done well. .346 since last August 3rd with robust numbers. He fouls it back. 1-1. He's a .299 lifetime hitter against the Rangers.
Hit 183 in April. and May jumped up to 259.
Yeah, and you know, Jason Castro came around. The guys at the bottom of the order who had really not done very much all got going at similar times, and that's helped this attack quite a lot. One and two. And you see Valbuena after a 197, 38 games, 340 the next 13.
Yeah, you want him to pick it up, but my goodness, that's a big jump.
It is a nice lift.
Hit all 6 of his home runs in that month of May.
In the dirt. And he's doing a lot of things better at the same time. He's taking pitches. He's walking more. He's hitting the ball to the left of second base more often than he was in April.
Yeah, I think that's the biggest thing, is he's done a good job of getting on top and going the other way. All you got to do is, you just got to do that just to show the pitcher that you can go that way. Take them off that outside edge of the plate, force them to come back to you and give you some pitches that you can drive.
Yankees beat the Angels 5-2 in Yankee Stadium. Valbuena looks out after an inside pitch. 3-2. Andrews, who just moved a few steps to his left on the first base side of second. So now with this hitter's count, Rangers expect Valbuena to pull the ball on the ground anyway. Outfielders straight away. Runner going, swing and a miss, and the throw from Wilson is in the dirt. The tag by Andrews makes it a strikeout, throw out, double play from 2-6. 1 run, 1 hit, nobody left. The Astros lead it for the first time all night. 5-4 in the 7th. They may challenge. We'll see now. Of course, A.J. Hinch lost his manager's challenge earlier.
Well, for me on that play, I think Colby beat the play, but I think he slid past the bag. This would be a better look at it. See, beats it in there, but does he stay on the bag?
Well, we couldn't tell there.
Perfectly placed umpire.
Yeah, Pat Hoberg, second base umpire, was blocking the shot there.
I see foot on the bag and then tag.
Okay. Was there that brief moment in between the foot coming off and the hand coming on? Well, the umpire's going to review it.
And again, we always ask, is there enough there to overturn it? That last look would, in my professional opinion, look like he might have been safe.
Well, the manager challenge earlier went against A.J. Hinch.
Yep.
But it's very common now in today's game with these new challenge rules. If a manager asks the umpiring crew, would you take a look at it? Even though he's out of challenges, usually they do.
Does it have anything to do with the inning and the time of the game, like 7th inning on, where it's a little more crucial?
I think so.
I guess.
Yes.
Not that there's any less crucial time during the game, but it seems like from the 7th inning on, there's a little more discretion of the umpires to have the ability to go look at it.
Good play by Andrews here.
Yeah, he had to go get that short hop and get back to the bag, but it looks like the foot was on there, and I'm not sure if maybe it did stay on him.
Yeah.
It's hard to tell.
It is. It is. And of course, the crew in New York would have to have conclusive evidence in order to overturn this.
Tight ball game, rivalry, maybe giving it a little extended look.
They're taking their time with it. Colby set sail on the 3-2 pitch. Close play at second. Wilson threw it in the dirt, but then Andrews really made the play that got the call for out number 3. Now we'll see if it stands.
Pitcher Barnett. Yeah, there you go.
They've overturned it. He's called safe at second, and the Rangers will come back out onto the field. Yeah, he did not have the tag on him when Colby switched from the foot to the hand on the base. And it is a crew chief review, meaning it's not a manager's challenge. A.J. Hinch merely asked if the crew would review it. They agreed to do so, and the call was reversed.
Andrews had to go out there and get the short hop, make sure he secured that ball. Because the initial tag, he was safe.
Yeah.
Then just didn't keep the tag on him.
It's a 1-minute 50-second review. So now 2 outs. And Jeff Bannister came out to say something to the crew chief, Paul Emmel, the first base umpire. And now the inning continues. Carlos Gomez gets an at bat. He's 0 for 3. Could be big. Big swing, strike 1. It's so different with today's game under these new rules. Blummer, the Rangers had gone to the dugout, so the pitcher Barnett had a 2-minute break there. We didn't see what he did. Now he has to come back out and make pitches after thinking the inning was over.
Yeah, they actually gave him 2 warm-up pitches to get loose.
Okay.
But yeah, I agree. That's an issue right there.
And that's common because of the delay. No balls, 2 strikes. But it's all about getting the calls right. Up and in. 1-2. In that Yankee 5-2 win over the Angels, Andrew Miller got his 3rd win of the year, beating Matt Shoemaker. Now Luke Jackson continues to throw in the Ranger bullpen. Brian McCann hit his 8th homer. Carlos Beltran, number 14. Ground ball. And here's Andrus turning it into out number 3. And the Astros get a run on 1 hit. They leave a man, and they're in front by 1. 5-4 in the 7th.
To all who voted. We showed you the awesome video of George Springer's catch at the wall, robbing Leonys Martinez that go around the same last year. We asked you how often we should show it. Wow, what a tight race here. All right, you guys spoke, so you want to see it in Rangers games only. You can't show this every day. Why not?
We could. They just wouldn't like it, Julia.
Oh, no.
We could see that every day, couldn't we?
Somebody sick could probably watch that every day.
Nomar Mazara takes strike 1. Home 7th inning underway. 5-4 Astros. Mazara's been on all 3 times with 2 singles, and he was hit by a pitch. Michael Feliz in the game. He goes to a 1-1 count. He got the final 2 outs in the 6th inning. Mike fires through 85 pitches, 57 for strikes, and going 5 1/3. Feliz now could be the winning pitcher. 1-2. He's won 4 times in his last 12 appearances since the beginning of May. And all 4 of those wins have been in extra inning games. Beltre and Odor to follow here in the 7th inning. Julia, you were there as always for A.J. Hinch's session with the media on the Houston bench before batting practice tonight, and he got a lot of questions, of course, about using the Houston bullpen. It was really interesting to listen to his answers, and we'll have you talk about that in a moment.
She could ask him again. She's that close.
Yeah, that's true. 2-2. How would you summarize his answers to the media tonight?
How would I summarize? Well, you know, yesterday he answered the question about the closer situation, and it seems like it's going to be very situational, but it was very interesting to see how he uses the bullpen compared to maybe the rest of us view the game. A lot of us like to see it, the game from the 9th inning backwards, but the way AJ does it, whenever the starter looks like they might be wobbling, might be close to be getting out, that's when he starts to think about the bullpen. So just a different way the manager thinks, and it was really interesting to see how many different ways yesterday's game could have gone depending on one batter here or one batter there. It was just the many different situations and the many different things that goes on in his head each game.
Yeah, so he's just trying to create matchups that he likes after the starter comes out. Out into right center field. And Mazzara continues. He is 3 for 3 in this game, and he's been on all 4 times.
Faith and Family Night presented by Chick-fil-A is back on 2016. Christian musician Brandon Heath performs a post-game concert on Saturday, June 18th after the Astros take on the Reds. For more information, visit astros.com/faith or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Adrian Beltre is the batter. He's 0 for 3. Yeah, they might be there for that one. That'll be in less than 2 weeks. After that long road trip continues. This one gets by Castro and allows the runner to advance. Mazzara to second base on a wild pitch by Phillies.
Castro wasn't trying to block that one, tried to pick it with the glove.
1-0 to Beltre, a dangerous RBI man with men in scoring position. And it is 2-0. So Julia, yeah, I was fascinated to hear AJ talk about that game yesterday. For instance, with Lance McCullers going 7 innings, if he had not been able to complete the 7th, AJ had Pat Neshek ready to come in, and he wound up not using Pat until the 8th inning after Tony Sipp had pitched earlier in the 8th. So those were the options, those were the matchups that he was considering, but it depends, of course, upon the performance of each pitcher as he's in there.
He even mentioned if Harris would have pitched earlier in that game, you know, it would have been Ken Giles in that closer situation, and that's one of his points. It could be any of these guys in that position, but one of the things he doesn't want to do is disrupt the flow of that bullpen because of the way everyone's pitching. You know, everyone's really comfortable in their roles right now. As far as Will Harris, we're talking about Michael Felice, you know, the 22-year-old and all these guys, and he said you move one guy out of their role like Luke Gregerson, you tell him he's moving out, it's not as easy as moving everyone down the line because it does disrupt the flow. He kept saying that, so I thought that was interesting. He's got to manage a team. It's not just one guy.
Since May 1st, the Astros lead the American League in bullpen ERA, 2.40. In their last 17 games, Astros relievers have a 1.84 ERA with 84 strikeouts and 63 2/3 innings. That is some firepower.
Those are great numbers. And remember, they're being used in some extended situations with extra innings, too.
That's a hit into left field. Beltre delivers, and the Rangers come back to put runners at first and third with nobody out here in the home 7th inning. Rougned Odor will bat.
This is why you want to try and avoid the strikeout. You just put it in play. force that defense to make a play, but this one perfectly located in between Valbuena and Correa. Not much you can do about that.
Odor cranked a homer in the third. He is 1 for 3. Castro giving signs to the infielders. Beltre, the runner at first, has not attempted a steal this year. Prince fielders on deck. Odor puts it in the air deep to right field. Springer way back on the track. The tying run will score to make it 5-5 on a sac fly by Odor. His 27th run batted in and second of the game.
Got time for our Ford spray chart after that sac fly to tie this ball game up. Prince fielder in there against the Astros since August 3rd of 2015. Spraying the ball all over the place. Really haven't had many answers for Prince fielder. A lot of other teams this season have had answers against Prince fielder, but the Astros still looking to try and figure out that playbook.
Fielder has 2 hits and has driven in a run tonight in 3 at-bats. Fastball up, ball 1. Quite a game. Texas got 3 in the first, Houston 3 in the third. Texas a single run in the fourth. Houston, or bottom of the third. Houston tying it in the fourth. Now each club with a run in the seventh. 1 ball, 1 strike. Against the Astros since August 3rd last year, Odor has hit .327, Beltre .381, Fielder .338, with big RBI numbers too. 22 runs batted in for Fielder in 16 games.
That's just damage incorporated right there.
Lays off the off-speed pitch. 2-1. Feliz, who has been a starting pitcher in the minor leagues, does not want to abandon his secondary pitches in relief. He gets a swing there and a 2-2 count. Came back with an 83-mile-per-hour pitch.
Pulling the string on him and some fastball counts.
Interesting. Ryan Rue is on deck. Now a full count. Fielder has struck out 39 times this season. It would be a pretty big surprise if Beltre took off. Fielder has grounded into 7 double plays. He's going. Popped up. Well, maybe it shouldn't have been a surprise. What did you think? Did you think he would go?
Well, the numbers are compelling either way. It could have been a strike him out, throw him out, because Beltre doesn't run very well, and the strikeouts are relatively high for Prince Fielder. But again, I guarantee you, Jeff Bannister's in that dugout going, wait a minute. Prince Fielder's facing the Houston Astros. I'm going to send the runner.
Good point. Beltre's going. Swing and a miss. Castro's hurt.
I wonder if the backswing hit the ball out of Castro's glove, because that's the way he reacted.
It did. So the runner's going to go back to first because it's a strikeout, and then batter interference on the part of Fielder coming around with the bat and hitting Castro. So it's out number 2, and Beltre has to return to first base.
Yeah, the Rangers lucked out in that situation. That would have been a strike him out, throw him out, double play.
True. Yep. Knocked the ball right out of his mitt.
It's too bad that the argument can't be obstruction. Therefore, the runner at second base should be out. Unfortunately,
it would have to be intentional for that to be the call. Ball 1 to Rua. Didn't see exactly where that bat hit Jason Castro. Here it is.
Right in the glove.
Okay. So hopefully it didn't catch a whole lot of the back of his hand there. Rua fouls that one.
A little bit of everybody. Nice.
Rough inning back there.
Wow. Don't see that too often with the umpire's mask getting blown off.
Glenn Wolcott.
That'll shake your strike zone.
Oh, got both of them.
2 for 1.
Boy. No balls, 2 strikes. 1-1 rather. That's strike 2, 1-2.
Foreshadowing.
Boy, that pitch would be tough to do anything with, wouldn't it?
Yeah, that's pretty nasty. Well located.
And 97 down there. Now it changes the eye level. 2-2. Up to 98 for Michael Feliz. And a strikeout. Rangers tied with a run on 2 hits. They leave a man after 7. It's 5-5. Diamond King spotlights Astros great Jose Cruz, traded from the Cardinals to the Astros for cash in 1974. 13 seasons with the Astros. And he led in runs batted in 7 times, batting average 6 times, homers 3 times, 4-time team MVP, 2-time All-Star. They retired his number, of course. He's a Texas Baseball Hall of Fame member, 3rd in the Astros all-time WAR rankings behind Bagwell and Biggio. A great one, Jose Cruz. Glad he's still in the organization. Spends a lot of time around Minute Maid Park. 5-5. We go to the 8th inning. 30,021 the paid attendance here tonight. They're seeing a good one now. Matt Bush, and we've seen him throw well against the Astros, Plummer.
Yeah, Matt Bush on 12th. Bringing the cheese. You're worried about that velocity out of Matt Bush. Dropping a little bit since being called up.
He goes with a breaking pitch. It's strike 1 to Marwin Gonzalez, who's 1 for 3. Bush held on to a 2-1 lead in the 7th inning when he pitched at Houston May 21st, giving up a hit to Colby Rasmus. 30 years old. He was the first player drafted in 04. Grounded foul. There's a new first baseman. Mitch Moreland has taken over for Prince Fielder at first base. No balls, 2 strikes. Castro's on deck. Springer due up third. Bush is quite a story in the sense that he was a shortstop when he was the first player drafted by the Padres in 04. That didn't work out. He converted to pitching 3 years later, but then had Tommy John surgery. Foul back. And had surgery again in 2010 on a nerve. But then, unfortunately, he was convicted of DUI and served 3 years in prison. He hit a motorcyclist who suffered serious injuries and has come back from that to carve a good start to his major league career with the Texas Rangers this year. That bounces. 1-2. Luke Gregerson is warming up for Houston. Tony Barnett in 1 inning allowed 1 hit, 1 run, walked 1 and fanned 2. And we move on to a different set of relievers here in the 8th. It would appear anyway. Have to wait and see, but Michael Felice probably finished after an inning and 2/3. Luke Gregerson warming up. Foul back. Still 1-2. Matt Bush had pitched just twice in the previous 7 days. He made his major league debut at age 30. Came up from Double-A Frisco May 13th. Fly ball out to center field. Ian Desmond. 1 out for Matt Bush. Jason Castro follows. Castro has 2 hits, an RBI, and a walk. He also has scored a run. Batting average up to .220. He started the night at .208. His catching situation now has turned out to be a real plus for the Astros. Castro sharing time with Evan Gattis. Strike to him. The Orioles beat the Royals 4-1. The Royals are now 30-27. They've kind of hit the skids lately. Mike Wright beating Danny Duffy. Zach Britton got his 18th save. He hasn't blown one. Mark Trumbo had his 19th homer. That's line foul. 0-2. Manny Machado hit his 15th long ball for the powerful Baltimore Orioles. Their record is now 33-23. We got a pretty good look at them in that series, and they weren't really hitting for power against the Astros, which is a nice tribute to the Astros pitching staff. One and 2 to Castro. The Astros have been here a few times this year. Close ball game, late innings. Up, and it's 2-2. Castro takes, and it's a full count. Rangers have won 14 of the last 16 from the Astros, dating back to last August 3rd. Castro struck out. 2 outs.
Follow Astros Baseball live and stay up to the moment with Game Day. Live highlights, StatCast, and more with the MLB.com @bat app. Download the app for your phone or tablet now.
That is a great app. George Springer is 0 for 4. You get all the details about the game, box score, the updated averages, all those things in that app. Springer hits a shot. Beltre, leaving his feet, gets up and throws him out. Beltre, Mr. Smooth at third base, keeps this game tied at 5 in the 8th. Number 3 for A.J. Hinch is Luke Gregerson. Gregerson in 26 games, 0-1, 13 for 18 in saves, a 4.56 ERA, 5 blown saves since May 11th. His role has changed some, but now he's in a tie ball game in the 8th inning, so still a very important role for Luke Gregerson.
Yeah, he needs to not lose sight of the fact that he is an important piece of this bullpen, no matter the situation. But again, we're kind of seeing an evolution in this bullpen where A.J. Hinch has 3 guys that he can go to between Ken Giles, Luke Gregerson, and Will Harris as far as leverage situations that we keep hearing as far as sabermetrics are concerned. This might be a spot where A.J. Hinch feels it's a good spot for Luke Gregerson to work back in and get that confidence back.
He'll face the 8, 9, and 1 hitters here in the last of the 8th inning. Elvis Andrus is 0 for 2 with a walk. A.J. Hinch going with Gregerson, and he had said that Luke would be in very important situations. He had blown saves in his last 2 outings at home, one against Arizona, the other against Oakland.
Our delivery of the game is delivered to you by Jimmy Johns. Big play in that first inning to get the Astros out of some more damage. Tremendous diving grab by Jose Altuve.
Fly ball out to right center field, a deep drive. Springer on the run, reaching back. Tremendous jump by Springer to run it down, and Andrus is retired for the 3rd time tonight. He's had a rough night. He's lined out twice. Now Springer ranges deep into right center.
Tell you what, this one may not be replayed over and over or have a straw poll made about it, but this is a big play by George Springer going back deep to pick up this fly ball off the bat. You see how shallow George is playing, and check out the route. Stay with it. Great play.
Bobby Wilson's the batter. He's 0 for 3. There's strike 1. Yeah, it was not a spectacular looking catch at the end because of what he did at the beginning. No balls, 2 strikes. Tony Sipp warming up for the Astros in their bullpen. And people used to write about Joe DiMaggio that he didn't make many diving catches because he always got such great jumps. He didn't have to dive. Strikeout for Gregerson. 2 down.
That's that Lou Gregerson slider we like to see.
Second baseman, Jurickson.
Firm down and away. Good bite on it.
Jurickson Profar with a triple and a run scored in the first is 1 for 4. Rangers about hit the Astros 10-9. Texas with 3 errors. Houston with 1. Each club has left 8. That's strike 1. Gregerson said he felt he had been making good pitches. And Jed Lowry homered off him in the 9th inning to tie that game 2 days ago. Jake Lamb hit a 2-run homer off him in the Arizona series on that blown save. Bouncer goes foul. No balls, 2 strikes. He had converted 5 in a row prior to that. It's a long season. We're just past the 1/3 mark. Sometimes roles do change along the way, and then they wind up changing again. Cubs beat the Phillies 6-4. Cubs are 40-16, fastest to 40 wins since the 0-1 Mariners. Lunging, Profar strikes out. That is a fine 8th inning for Luke Gregerson to keep this game tied at 5, moving to the 9th.
Congratulations to Jay Garrett, our winner tonight.
Coca-Cola Astros Buddies memberships are on sale now for only $25. Buddies members get a voucher for 4 tickets to an Astros game, VIP access to Kids Run the Bases, exclusive autograph sessions, and more. Memberships for kids up to 12 years old are available by visiting astros.com/buddies. Astros trying to get their first win against their division rivals in the Rangers this season long. It was something that was talked about before the game. AJ saying, you know, these are 2 of the hottest teams in the American League right now, so I was looking forward to the matchup between these 2, especially with the way the Astros have been playing lately. But his point was we have to play complete games. Every 90 feet matters. And he also said, you know, when these 2 play, there's not many secrets here. So you just have to play the game, guys.
And they are playing it tonight. 5-5 going to the 9th. Jeff Bannister brings in his closer, Sam Dyson. Jose Altuve is 3 for 4 tonight, including a 3-run homer in the 3rd inning. Matt Bush had a 1-2-3/8 with 1 strikeout. There's strike 1 for Dyson. Since he became the closer, he's gone 6 for 6 in saves. He's 7 for 8 this season. 0-1 with a 1.95 ERA. And 2 for 2 in saves against the Astros this year. That one had some serious movement. 0-2.
Yeah, Dyson's got good stuff. He's got that changeup you just saw right there, averaging 88 miles an hour on it, but it can also get it up to 90. He's got good sink with 96 too.
Altuve fouls it. Correa and Rasmus to follow in the Houston 9th. Sean Tollison opened the season as the Rangers closer. He has an ERA of 10.13, 4 blown saves. He's been shifted to another role. Fly ball, and the center fielder Desmond comes in. 1 out. The Rangers have Desmond, Mazzara, and Beltre due up in the bottom of the 9th inning. Dyson, who's 28, is from Tampa. He went to the University of South Carolina. Carlos Correa faces him. Correa 0 for 3 with a walk. He scored a run in the 7th inning. That gave the Astros a 5-4 lead, but the Rangers countered with a tying run in the bottom of the 7th. Correa looks at ball 1. 30,021 the paid attendance. Dyson was drafted by Toronto, moved along to Miami. 1 ball, 1 strike. In Dyson's 4 appearances against the Astros, he has 2 holds and 2 saves. He's given up 1 run on an RBI single by Colby Rasmus, who's on deck. Ken Giles throwing for Houston now. Ground ball 3rd. Beltre. 2 outs. Rasmus will bat. Giles at work for the bottom of the 9th. Rasmus singled in that go-ahead run in the 7th. He's 1 for 4. Dyson last year pitching for Miami and Texas, worked 75 games. He had 21 holds. Strike 1 to Rasmus. John Lester won his 7th for the Cubs tonight, 6-4 at Philadelphia. Oh, 2 to Rasmus with Gaddis on deck. New York and Pittsburgh postponed in Pittsburgh. Rasmus hits 1 foul again. He's done that several times tonight. Up the right field line. Good play. Solid effort for the glove. One and 2. Tampa Bay leads at Arizona 3-2 there in the top of the 5th inning in the desert. Chris Archer on the mound against Robbie Ray. Tim Beckham hit his 3rd home run. And Robbie Ray hit number 1, the pitcher for Arizona. Rasmus fouls it. Detroit blitzed Toronto 11-0 in the Motor City. Detroit club is hard to figure, Blummer.
It's been a roller coaster ride for Brad Ausmus and the Detroit Tigers.
Now 2-2 to Colby. Michael Fulmer, very promising young right-hander, goes to 6-1 with the win tonight. Toronto gets 3 hits. Jay Happ, the loser, 6-3. Strikeout for Dyson. He has a 1-2-3 ninth. That's 9 in a row set down by the Ranger bullpen. They come up in the bottom of the 9th. Desmond, Mazzara, Beltre, 5-5. Astros baseball on Root Sports is presented by Southwest Airlines. Transparency, low fares, nothing to hide. And by Toyota, let's go places. Well, this game is 5-5 now, moving to the bottom of the 9th inning. Here at Globe Life Park in Arlington, Texas. Houston getting the 3-run Altuve homer in the 3rd, but then it was 4-3 Texas, 4-4, and 5-5 after 7. Now, pitcher number 4 of the night, Ken Giles, comes in for A.J. Hinch.
Numbers continuing to get better for Ken Giles, showing better command of the slider. 28th appearance. Last 13 games. Focus on that number right there, that 2.13 ERA. Very nice.
Ian Desmond is 2 for 4. He gets it going. Strike 1 on the slider. Luke Gregerson had a 1-2-3 8th. Striking out 2 through 8 pitches, all strikes. Mazzara's on deck. Giles drops the slider in, and it's 0-2. Giles had his 2nd consecutive scoreless outing Saturday against Oakland with 2 shutout innings. Pitched a scoreless inning against Arizona 5 days ago. In the dirt. The appeal went to first. That's a strikeout for out number 1. Called by Paul Emmel.
Tough to lay off that hard slider when in the back of your mind you know he throws 97 miles an hour. I think that's a good call. Great stop by Jason Castro to keep that ball nearby too.
Sure was. Giles has pitched twice against the Rangers, has not given up a run in either inning. Mazzara's been on all 4 times tonight. Strike to Mazzara, 3 hits, and he was hit by a pitch. Beltre's on deck. Fastball line to left field, in for a hit. Mazzara's on for the 5th straight time in this game.
Kid is a good hitter. Not trying to do too much with that Ken Giles heater. Just stays on it, goes the other way with it.
Adrian Beltre is 1 for 4. He singled in the 7th inning. Rougned Odor is on deck. That's strike 1. Tough pitch. After Jake Diekman's getting loose for Texas. There's some discussion with Beltre asking a question of Quinn Wolcott about that call. Good block there by Castro. 1-1. Rangers have been tough to beat in this ballpark with a 21-9 record here. Bounce foul. 1-2 to Beltre. Rangers are 2-9 in games decided in the final at bat. Bullpen has lost 12. Ground ball, Correa. Little bobble, Altuve, and Marwin safe at first. That little bobble cost the Astros a double play.
Sure did. Credit Adrian Beltre, the veteran, hustling this one out. Looked like a double play ball to get Ken Giles out of this inning. Just bobbled a little bit by Carlos Correa on the exchange. Allows Beltre to beat it out.
Ned Odor will bat. He has a homer and a sac fly. Infield shifting around, playing him to pull. Strike on the heater at 97. He's a very good fastball hitter. Hit to left field. Deep. Colby Rasmus back up against the wall. It bangs off the wall. Comes back toward the infield. Beltre is going to score the winning run. The Rangers beat the Astros for the 11th time in a row at Globe Life Park. And they are 7-0 against Houston this year, taking this one in the final at bat when Odor drives in his third of the game with a deep one off the wall and left. We'll be right back.